All right, this is project SUB 19001. This is a request from an applicant named Trey Turley for an exception to the subdivision, the flag lot driveway requirements of the subdivision ordinance at 8095 South Pine Creek Lane. This has been recommended to you by the Planning Commission following a procedure codified in the city's subdivision ordinance, and it's here tonight for public comment, and we have also requested that it be scheduled for final action by the council tonight. Go to the next slide, Dan. Thank you. As you can see, the subject property is located on Pine Creek Lane. This is a small residential street off of Creek Road that dead ends on the north side. This property is actually the furthest north property on that lane. There are kind of 4 homes, 2 regular lots and 2 flag lots. A flag lot being a lot that does not have direct frontage on a street. Rather, it's accessed by a privately owned driveway. And this happens to be one of the flag lots on Pine Creek Lane. So the city's subdivision ordinance contains a provision that allows the city council to approve variations or exceptions from many of the design standards of the subdivision ordinance, flag lot driveways being one of those design standards. And the criteria are that the requested exception has to be for the purpose of an unusual topographic condition, an aesthetic purpose, or other exceptional conditions. It's pretty broad, and found to not violate the general health, safety, and welfare of the city. Next slide, please. What we have is a proposed request to modify the landscaping and the fencing requirement on flag lot driveways. The standard ordinance requires 20 feet of travel surface for a driveway of this length, plus 4 feet of landscaping on the outside of the driveway. What is being proposed as an exception is actually to split that landscaping 2 feet on either side of the driveway. Another requirement for which an exception is being requested is the fencing requirement. The ordinance requires a 6-foot solid visual barrier on the outside of the driveway. The applicant is proposing instead to satisfy that requirement with regularly planted deciduous trees, and that is actually on both sides of the driveway, taking up that 2-foot landscaping buffer on either side. Next slide. This has actually been constructed already. The original plans for the home were approved in compliance with the subdivision ordinance and were constructed not in compliance with the subdivision ordinance. A complaint was received by the city, and we investigated and issued a violation letter. Working with the applicant, kind of the 2 options were either go through this exception process or correct the violation on site, and the choice was made to apply for an exception. Next slide. This shows an aerial context of the area. As part of the applicant's application, we did receive support letters from each of the 4 homes you see that would be most directly affected by that driveway. Outside of those 3 additional homes, there's not really any impact to any of the other homeowners or properties in the area. While the original complaint was submitted by one of these homeowners right adjacent to this, that property owner's signature was also in the packet showing support for this exception request, and the signed support letter actually came in after the fact. Next slide, thanks. So this has gone through Planning Commission. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. There were no negative comments in opposition to this. There was one public comment that was actually a neighbor that was in support of this, felt that the replacing the fence and the 4-foot landscaping with planted trees was a more aesthetic approach and more appealing visually, added value to this area. Staff recommends approval as well. The applicant is here. He's welcome to add anything or answer any questions you have, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Mr. Turley, any comments you want to make?
Sure, I'll be brief. Appreciate the opportunity for you guys to review this, and it's kind of exciting. It kind of came together. The troop, the Boy Scout troop from the area that I live in is here tonight, and so they get a little firsthand experience of, this is real stuff. This is what happens. And I just want to thank Mike and Andy. it can be a little intimidating, the whole city government, and what to do and how to do it, and how to dot those I's and cross the T's, and even fantastic, exceptional. You hear about governments that don't work. This is one that I believe my experience has been that it does. And I've been a resident of Cottonwood Heights ever since the inception. And when I built this home, I was mindful of the community, and I'm grateful to be here. But in any case, I don't want to belabor the point. You got lots of other things going on tonight, but essentially, I'm just requesting an exception request on 2 items. One, for the fence between me and a neighbor to the south. In your packet in front of you, you've got a signed letter from him saying, you know what, if there's a choice, he'd rather have line trees and bushes. He'd rather see that than the fence. And the other exception is on the 4-foot landscape barrier, just to be able to include it on both sides. That way we can have landscaping on both sides, and probably, you know, and protect the neighbors on both sides as well. But that's all I had. If you have any questions for me.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Turley? Hearing none, we'll open it up to public comment on this matter. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this matter? I don't think I have any comment cards if anyone would like to speak. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment and we'll move to, I was just moving to citizen comments. So Roberta, come on up. Well, it's the first card I have.
Yeah, I know, but this is a couple of times now. Anyway, Mayor, I really want to commend you for the article that came out in the newsletter, because your transparency about your son's ADU was really terrific. And the fact that, you know, you realize that maybe you need to think about whether to recuse yourself or not. And I know this has been kind of hard for you, so. And since you live in a neighborhood that's not going to have them, it's got to be even more difficult, so. But I really just wanted, because I've confronted you before about that, so I kind of wanted to tell you that you did it well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nikki Grace, Nikki?
So my husband is going to hand out some supporting documents.
I'll pull the microphone down, yeah, thanks.
Okay, before I start.
Chair.
Okay, these documents were provided by Edie Wright.
Go ahead, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Nikki.
I recently discovered, after coming down here for months to save my home and neighborhood from high density, that the mayor and another council member are not disinterested parties. I don't believe they should be sitting or voting on this issue, nor anyone else on the council who is not a disinterested party. CC&Rs. Protective covenants, agreements, restrictions, and conditions were recorded for the Golden Hills subdivisions in 1968. These run with the land to heirs, successors, assigns. They were not open to revocation or modification until 1966 and 96, and since then they are automatically extended for 10-year periods thereafter unless revoked or rewritten by a vote of the majority of the property owners. I was given a copy of CC&Rs with the preliminary title report when we purchased our home in 1998. I do not believe these CC&Rs have been revoked or modified. They specify in 14A no building other than one single-family dwelling house and appropriate outhouses shall be erected on any of the said lots, nor shall any house constructed on any such lots be used for any purpose other than a single-family dwelling house, and it specifically forbids duplexes and multifamily. Regarding earthquake, and there's a report there, the geological reconnaissance in the Golden Hills subdivision. Top of the world is an unstable area. If it were being permitted today, it might not get approved at all. In recent years, a home was taken down on our street because of instability. The last page of that report shows the fault lines in Top of the World. Taxes. Higher density will require more police, emergency, more support for sidewalks, roads, and all infrastructure and services, and will pack the schools. Cottonwood Heights is currently a low-density, low-expense community, easy and inexpensive to run and keep up basic services if you will focus on those. So I request no AD use. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. One question, Nikki, do you have an HOA up there that's formal to enforce these?
We had an attorney look at this, and he says they supersede anything this council might
Well,
do.
and these would supersede anything that we would do, I assume, too, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, absolutely. All right, thank you, Nikki. Tim, Buttery Guy Halbeck, it says on the card.
I can be better if you want. Okay, just to finish up my three-part science series on the magic of lithium-ion batteries. So, in average in Utah, across the state, we have about 171 vehicle crashes per day. Of those, about 3% or 5 per day involve fires. The good news is, when it comes to electric cars, it's 1/10 that. So it's only 0.3%. The bad news is, once an electrical fire starts in the battery compartment of one of your Tesla or your Prius or that kind of thing, very difficult to put out. You got to sit there and watch it go for 6 hours, whatever it is. So I know there's a lot of planning going on about our move towards carbon neutral kind of position and changing over trucks and police cars and that kind of thing. Just bear in mind, nickel cadmium batteries, great solution. The old style lead acid batteries, those are a great solution. But lithium ion, the liquid electrolyte lithium ion batteries don't work. And it'll be quite the danger and quite the work on our fire department if we do with that. Because you accidentally put water on a lithium ion fire, very bad things happen. So that being said, that's all I'm going to say about that particular science subject. And now I'm going to tell you some really bad jokes. All right, here we go. This is clean jokes, so the scouts can use them. What do you call an alligator at the scene of a crime? An investigator. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to make up a word right here on the spot. Plagiarism. Nothing? Really? Okay. Wow. Tough crowd. Okay. All right. We'll just finish early then. If you have a severe case of kleptomania, what do you take for it? Thank you very much.
All right, Tim. Thank you for that entertainment. Any other citizens who would like to comment tonight on any subject? I don't have any more cards. Edie, did you want to come up? I know you came earlier and were saying I don't mean to call you up, but I know you wanted to.
Mayor, and I also have a handout that Edie has provided that I'm going to pass.
All right, that's what I was referring to. She was going to give us a handout, yeah.
Mayor, thank you so much for distributing my belated messages. This was all my thoughts this morning, and there's just one thing I want to repeat. I could not remember what ADU meant, and I thought, yes, what it says on the paper. Thank you so very much for everything you do. I just really love you all. I can't imagine all the hours you must be putting in and all the knocks and cusses you might get. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. All right, any other comments from the public? If not, we'll close citizen comments and move to our standing monthly reports. Lieutenant Bartlett, come on up.
I hear the clicker's broken today, so we'll do our best.
Uh-oh.
Okay, your February stats report. Calls for service, 1,608 calls for service with 475 on-view cases, which is about, the on-view cases are about standard for us. Little dip in the cases, but it's a short month as well, February. Next, please. Our response times, right always where we like to see them, around 4 minutes for priority 1. Our overall crime view for the month, 77 of the big crimes that we report for this month. So again, a short month, a couple of days, and so that would be about the same for us. Our arrest, 77 arrests, 13 juvenile arrests. We've done some education in our school with our new school officer over there at Brighton, and I think we've kind of figured things out with the school district and what they're going to take and what we're going to take per the new law, and so that's been settled, and I think we're kind of settling in with that. So there's our arrest for the month. Total traffic citations. Our training for the new module, a new citation module, is complete now, and the guys are starting to get it, and we are moving. Our warnings are going up, and I've instructed them. I like to see our warnings go up a little more, so we're working on that. And our new FTOs, our new officers that are out there being trained right now, are working hard and getting theirs in as well. Accidents for the month. I'm glad to report that they've gone down a little bit. However, our injury accidents went up. A couple of storms in there, a couple of 3 and 4 car accidents that had some injuries, so that's what bumped our numbers up for those.
It's on that if you have multi-car, that still counts as one accident, correct? Or is it?
We will count the injuries separately. So, our no deaths for the month of February. I'm happy to report. Oh, you have the old one. There's a slide missing out of this one. I'll include it in next month's. Our safety message for the month is please remember to close your garage. I put an example of our door hangers on here. These are the hangers that we use when the officers find open garage doors in the middle of the night. They'll try to shut them for you if they can, and hang a ding on your door just to let you know that your garage door was open. We've had an increase of garage burglaries, so we wanted to share that message this month and remind people to please check your garage doors, get the new garage doors that will alert you if they're open. The technology's changed and it's wonderful, so that's our safety message for the month. Any questions for me?
Any questions on the police report? Hearing none.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Okay, standing in for Matt Shipp is our City Manager, Tim Tingey, to give us our Public Works report. How many tons of salt have we used? Yeah.
Well, it's good to be here and to stand before you to give you this report. We're going to focus on a little bit related to the snow removal and what's happened, but primarily what projects we're going to be moving forward in the upcoming weeks and months. Some are already underway. Dan, if you can pull that up. First of all, related to the snow report for February, we had 11 winter events, 44 inches of snow average. We have different inches between the east and to the west, and then we used 1,443 tons of salt in these 11 winter events. Related to the projects, specifically road projects and others, this first one is the Fort Union and Highland Drive intersection. It's already underway. We've had signage in place, and the project is moving forward. The project includes completion of double left turn lanes in each leg of the intersection, and also some enhancements up to the I-215 on-ramp. Just for your information, and you're probably aware of this, this is being funded through federal dollars. We went through environmental processes for this, so it includes 2 sources of federal dollars and then some matching dollars through our SB 277 funding. The next one is the Bengal Boulevard roundabout. This is a project that you've talked about before and that we're going to be moving forward with. We're in the environmental phase right now, doing the environmentals for this. There will be an open house on April 11th to get input on the environmental portion of this. What you see here is simply a conceptual plan. After the environmental process is completed, because we have federal dollars, we will move forward into bidding for a design engineer to design the project. So what you see here is not the design. We'll work through that and have public input through that design process. This is coming, the funding for this comes through federal funding as well as a state funding source. And it's likely that we'll have design through the summer and fall, but we're going to coordinate specifically with the school district on construction, which hopefully will be not during the school year. And so that's what we're going to focus on. Next slide. The Big Cottonwood Canyon Trail. This is a project you're probably familiar with. It will begin on March 15, 2019. We have a contractor in place. The bid came in at $195,000, and it's to do the enhancements along the Cottonwood Trail there, coming from state funding, TAP funds through WFRC, Wasatch Front Regional Council, as well as other county active transportation funds. Next slide. Big Cottonwood Canyon Gap Trail. You can see the dark red here is the area that's already completed. This project will complete the trail from the parking lot area to that intersection area. It's that smaller portion of that. And we'll be finalizing the environmental documents on this and hope to go out to bid in April and then move forward with this. This comes from WFRC, Wasatch Front Regional, TAP funding, $100,000. It's a state source to do this completion of this project. We're also going to be moving forward, and you talked about this 2 weeks ago, on the study for solar on City Hall site. That study, we're in the process. We've been meeting with the contractor on that, and they're going to be doing the evaluation of that, and we're in process of that. We've already talked about Mount View Park, the bidding on that in our work session. We're hoping to scale back that project and then move that forward as well. We've also completed the Grandeur Circle Stormwater project. This included 3 components to address all of the issues there. We finished all of those components, and we're glad to have that done. It's a challenging project because what the challenges with that is the road and the stormwater goes down into a hole where there is a home there. But we feel like with the work that we've done everything that we can to mitigate those impacts. We also have a sidewalk project on 1600 East. It was just poured recently. This is a school route, a safe school route that we've completed, or it's in process of completion. We're using our 50-50 sidewalk program funding to do this, and we feel like this is an important enhancement to get that accomplished. So those are our projects coming up. There'll be more as we move through the year, but these are some of the ones that are right on the edge of either in process or working towards completion. Any questions? I can really talk about tons of salt if you want. I'm willing to do that, but
112,000, 112. What was it?
For what, the
Number of
tons?
salt. You've got it right there. I know you do.
I have it right here.
It's 112,000 pounds.
I have it in pounds. Yes, I have it in pounds or tons. I've already mentioned the pound or the
There's
tons.
Yeah, it's tons.
There's a lot. I'm just going to say that.
Anyway, it's a lot of salt. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, great. All right. Any questions of Tim regarding the Public Works report? Hearing none, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it very much. All right, for the council, we have 2 items of action tonight. First is Resolution 2019-15, approving entry into an independent contractor agreement with Granicus for design and hosting of our city's new and improved website. Any questions on that resolution?
I would just like to express how excited I am for an upgrade to our website and apologize to the public that it took so long. Way overdue.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2019-15.
It's been moved by Councilmember Shelton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Bruce. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken.
Yes.
Councilmember Bruce.
Yes.
Councilmember Michael.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. The next item is Resolution 2019-16, approving an exception from the subdivision design standards for the flag lot driveway located at 8095 South Pine Creek Lane that we've taken public comment tonight and discussed in our work session. Any further questions on this matter?
I would just comment that all of the neighbors were supportive of this, even in writing, and that it passed unanimously from our planning commission.
Further comments?
I would just echo that. I mean, I have some issue with ask for forgiveness later, but at the same time, if everyone kind of that's what happened, this one seems fairly low impact. I would move that we approve Resolution 2019-16.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bracken. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Michael. Any further discussion?
Bruce. It was Bruce.
I thought I heard the other one. All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Bracken and seconded by Councilmember Bruce. Any further discussion? Just make one comment. I'd always rather see trees than a big fence, so I'm glad to see that. Okay, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Michael.
Yes.
Councilmember Bruce.
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay, that's our action items for this evening. The only thing left is our consent calendar, where I need a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes for February 5th, 2019. Could I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
It's moved that we approve the consent calendar for February 5th, 2019. Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Motion to adjourn, please.
I move that we adjourn.
Move that we adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
We're moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have some
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.